Hello, folks. Welcome to Baby's first micro lecture. In this micro lecture, which is included in the prompt for discussion 8, we're going to talk about political socialization. This is an important concept because it really is where the rubber of politics hits the road of your life. It is the process by which we, as individuals, learn about the government and acquire our unique beliefs, attitudes, values, and behaviors associated with good citizenship. What is it to be to live in country X, Y, or Z? In the United States, this often stresses the teaching of democratic and capitalist values, right, which are two concepts we've discussed throughout the semester thus far in our consideration of the founding and function, or I guess dysfunction, of our government and the market economy it shapes, or flipping the coin, the government that is shaped by the economy, right, like big business and money and politics and the Katznelson text, if you will. Understanding our individual political socialization will help us see why there's such there's that word again, normative disagreement among folks in the United States regarding these concepts, capitalism and democracy. In short, understanding how socialization shapes our society, and maybe more importantly, each of us individually, should help us to better understand why our society is so polarized, why there's so many differing opinions about politics, the government, Doge, Trump, etc., and our place in the political world, both as individuals and the United States. Our analysis of our own socialization will help us digest the rest of the class, of the balance of the semester, which will cover politics and governance. I do this as well because Lowy mentions socialization in chapter 8, but doesn't really go into detail about it like I wish the text would. And to put this into practice, how you feel about the Katznelson text, which is, as you know, pretty critical of the relationship between capitalism and democracy as it is in the United States, is likely how you feel about that, and Katznelson's analysis is likely shaped by your socialization. So the objective of this present micro lecture is for you to analyze your own socialization by breaking it down into its component parts. Helping you to try to measure how certain influences shape how you feel about the political world today. This analysis will help you correlate your lived experiences that have really interacted inside of your head since before you were aware of them at all, since from the cradle. And they will continue to interact all the way to the grave. But that way, then you will understand why you feel the way you do about about politics and government today. What are your political preferences? How did you get them? And why do you feel the way you do about politics? So let's look at let's look at our political preferences and what socialization is here, right? So our preferences, plain and simple, are what we prefer, right? What do we want out of life here? And these are developed through our social lives, our upbringing with our family, our schooling, and we could look at this either through the lens of the state you live in, the school district itself, the teachers you have, or perhaps most importantly, your fellow students, right? But your preferences are often shaped by your schooling, your religion, if you have one, or if you don't. And so in my case, I was brought up religious and then decided not to be. This shapes my preferences and our experiences with friends and coworkers as we age, and with the media and so on and so forth, right? There's a reason why you feel the way you do about, Trump, or you feel the way you do about guns, either in favor of lack of regulation or a desire for more regulation, or abortion, or whatever hot button issue we could throw out there. There's a reason why you feel the way you do. It's a consequence of your socialization. Okay. And it's our induction as individuals into the political culture in which we live, right? What does it mean to be a citizen, a resident of the United States? What are some of the shared beliefs we have? How do we learn these, right? Whether that is, I mean, at its broadest, this belief in, the American dream, which we're all, whether we like it or not, even just via television, led to buy into. And then the older we get, whether or not we continue to believe in that or we discount it is a consequence of our socialization, right? The process of learning the underlying beliefs and values on which the system is based. And most importantly, and this is what's not discussed in the Lowy text, it's shaped by various agents, right? What is an agent of socialization? These are the influences that make us who we are, that shape our ideas. Most of us probably vote the same way as our parents do, right? We start learning these political cues from our family, whether our family votes or it doesn't, right? If our family members vote, again, we likely vote the way our parents do. In my case, I jokingly say I come from a mixed family. My dad's a lifelong Republican. My mom's a lifelong Democrat. Neither of them can really tell you why this day and age vote the way they do, but they do. And their parents, respectively, my dad's family all voted Republican. My mom's all Democrat. There are reasons why that is, but I don't want to dwell on those. In my case, when I was young, a child, I really fancied myself to be a Republican like dear old dad. Over time, not because I wanted to vote like my mom necessarily, but I've drifted away and I do not vote for Republicans like I used to. Schools and education. We're brought up to say the Pledge of Allegiance in class every day. Right? In the state of Texas, there's a state allegiance that they pledge in schools, for example. But we get these cues from school. We learn about, the beauty and wonder of the first Thanksgiving, in which the Native Americans took the Europeans in the cold and fed them, and all these. We learn these stories through school, and it socializes us as citizens, residents of this place we live in, whether or not we're religious. This day and age, 21st century United States, conservatives tend to be more religious, especially if they are Protestant Christians, to a lesser extent Catholics. Traditionally, Catholics in this country leaned more toward the Democratic Party. That's changing over time. But religion can dictate how we feel about the political world, especially if you come from a minority religion. You're probably nodding your head if you do. It can really shape how you feel about this society and your place in it. Our working class, economic class certainly does, whether or not, your parents have an education, a higher education, earn much higher than median income or less. This can clearly shape how you feel about the world. Our social groups, we tend to, from school age on, and that's because we tend to live around people of similar socioeconomic means. But as we get into school and move beyond, our friends tend to have the similar upbringings and ideas about politics as we do. Beyond that, political conditions. Maybe for you, the election of Trump in 2016, you might have been old enough to have an idea as to what was going on, and maybe you didn't like him, or maybe you did. In my case, the political condition of the invasion of Iraq in 2003, while I was studying international law back in Spain, changed the way how I felt about U.S. foreign policy and the Republican Party in particular. Media often is there once we're old enough to think for ourselves and form our own ideas. We tend to we find media, especially in the age of social media, that just reinforces how we feel about things, right? Ask my racist uncle how he feels about Fox News and how he feels about every other form of media. We find media that make us feel better about our own ideas as we get older. And then political events can shape how we feel as well. Some overlap there with political conditions, but I'll say this. September 11th happened while I was in college, and literally the planes hit the towers as I was arriving to a geography class on that morning, and it really got my wheels turning about the United States' relationship with the rest of the wider world. And it's in no small part why I went back to Spain to do a master's degree in international law. So events, whether it's election of certain presidents, or maybe for you it was Kamala Harris losing the 24 elections. That's up to each individual. But the fact of the matter is, socialization happens to us all. It's undeniable from cradle to grave. We all have family, whether or not we're close to them or not. We've all gone to school. We have a relationship with religion or we don't. We can't escape all the things on this list of agents. But the fact of the matter is they affect us all uniquely, and they make us the unique individuals who we are within a wider society. Okay? So please think about your socialization, the agents that have most of shaped you and affected you, and maybe consider how your ideas have changed during the course of your life because of your socialization. All right? I hope you find this useful. I appreciate your time and attention.